So it's been 6 months now since my father passed, and I chose to come out here today, and this is the first time I came out. And this is just, this is just an extreme, obviously, me coming out for the first time and seeing his plaque at the cemetery. But there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him, and a day that goes by that I don't think that he should still be here. And the problem is, the struggle I'm having with law firms and with Mercy Hospital is they don't value his life. They don't see Charles Weller. They see a number or just like, a man or something. I don't know how to explain it. And this is like, took such a toll on my life. And they just think, life goes on, you got to pick up the pieces and just keep it moving. And it's so hard to do, knowing what he went through and that he didn't have to go through that. It's not that I can't take a loss. My mom's plaque is right up there too. My mom passed of cancer. I understand it. I get it. But for this man to have to go through what he went through, and lawyers are talking to me in terms of what he was worth financially, or what it's worth to pursue, just like what? It's crazy. They need to know that when you mess up like this, when something like this happens, it's far more of an effect than just losing somebody. He should experience this winter day and how beautiful it is. We should be talking about it. And instead, I gotta go and talk to a plaque. I think it's up this way, the middle section. Buzzy Bear, that's what he called my mom's. I don't even know what to say. Because every time I just handed it, when it was just mom, can't really talk to a plaque, I guess. He'd be so stunned at how nice it is out on a winter day. Hated the winter. He didn't get to see probably the most mild winter in Pittsburgh forever. Definitely got to get out here more. Just remember when we would come out to see when it was just my mom, he would just walk around, immediately smoke, and just pace around. He would always say, I'd be like, dude, what do you keep pacing around for? Like, I'm nervous in the service. That's what he always said. It's been 6 months now since my father passed. My father passed September 1st. Lawyers will tell you have 2 years to file a malpractice suit, which sounds like a lot of time, but with the lack of success I'm having, I'm finding out it's not. So in 6 months, I'm 0 for 6 at getting legal representation. Like, I've been shot down by 6 lawyers, and every time you have to go and you tell your story again. And the thing is, what I'm learning is the whole, we don't get paid unless we get money for you. But lawyers, they want to just take slam dunks. These are some of the things that I'm finding out. These are some of the things that I've been told that, to me, is mind-blowing. And every lawyer has pretty much agreed that it's clear that the hospital gave him an infection. But one of the things that they said is they can't prove gross negligence. Not negligence, gross negligence. I had a lawyer say, for example, this is exactly what the lawyer said to me. It would be different if, like, you know, you were going to get an arm cut off and they cut a different arm off. Or I've had a lawyer say, quote, like, for example, you can show or prove that they dropped the scalpel in the toilet and then continued operating on your father. What would I even need a lawyer for if that is the level that it needs to be blatant? And I have no qualm. Like, I will pay a lawyer. I will take the loss because I want my day in court, because what was done was so egregious. To me, it's worth it. Lawyers are just saying, no, I won't take it. Like, I can't even offer you money to represent me. But you're admitting in the same breath that you believe that the doctors caused this. This was an infection in the hospital. Another roadblock is lawyers not feeling it's financially worth it for them to take the case, which to me is one of the most cold, callous things imaginable. I had a lawyer sit me down and he said that there's something called comorbidities. What comorbidities are is they look at my dad's medical history. So he had a history, he had the lung cancer, and then they look at his age, which is 70, and they look at that he wasn't working at the time to decide if he would financially be worth fighting for. So they'll say medicine, this is what they argue in the courts, hospitals, medicine's not an exact science. But then you have a formulaic way to say what the predicted rest of my dad's life was worth. So because he was 70, I guess what happened to him is okay. It's not as bad. Not to mention, let's say he had 1 year, let's say he had 5 years, let's say he had 10 years. What about what was done to him? That man entered the hospital at the end of July 26th, and he never got out. He was in a bed for over a month. He had tubes stuck in his throat for weeks. He couldn't speak. They had to dampen a sponge and tap his lips. He couldn't eat. Torture. Absolute, it was torture. Mercy Hospital, by law, has 30 days to turn over my father's medical records. It took them 43 days to finally get my father's medical records to me. The medical records were on a disc, over 6,000 pages. All medical terminology and lingo. So I'm supposed to be able to find gross negligence. I'm supposed to go over 6,000 pages? I don't even know what I'm looking for. I don't even know what certain things mean. How do I get access to a medical examiner or somebody that will look for something glaring to present to a lawyer for me? It's so frustrating. And all of a sudden I look and I'm 6 months down. I'm 1/4 of the way to where they can say the time has run out. You can't even pursue anything. Mercy Hospital has had a lady, and for what it's worth, she's a very nice lady, but someone involved in their patient care, basically, like, it's almost like a customer service. Oh, we heard you're displeased with the level of service. What can we do for you? And it's like, this isn't a steak that you sent out the wrong temperature. There's nothing you can do for me. What is this? You know what I mean? It's almost like double the insult, man. So 6 lawyers have shot me down. I don't know if I got to go outside of Pittsburgh. I don't know what I got to do. And they all seem to agree. It definitely appears as if they gave him an infection in the hospital But those things are huge roadblocks to why they won't take my case. It's very demoralizing, and it's hard to try to fight and you don't even have the tools to fight with. Like, you can't even arm yourself. You're at such a disadvantage. So I'm just gonna keep scrapping and keep clawing and keep fighting. And, you know, I need help, you know, clearly. In the time since my dad passed, it's rough. And, you know, people deal with loss every day, and I don't think I'm a different special case or anything, but people assume that you should just get back to life. And it's so difficult, especially the way this happened. My mother passed of cancer in 2013. You know, my sister passed in 2014. I was hurt, I was devastated, I was heartbroken, but I was not blaming people. I understood it. This just doesn't make any sense. To lose someone so valuable and have people and institutions and tell you that he's not valuable. And because they just look at a 70-year-old man, they don't look at what that man meant. Everything in, you know, my life has drastically changed. Me and my two brothers really don't talk. Holidays are not the same. They're not. You know, he should have turned 71 in December. Thanksgiving, it's missing that centerpiece, and it didn't have to be that way. And it was so cruel that it really has affected my beliefs in my religious, in the way I think about things. It was such a cruel thing to watch that man suffer the way he did. So yeah, in this time, it's been hard. It's been hard on me. It's been hard on my son, terribly hard on my brothers. It's scarring. It's legit horrible. So I'm gonna keep putting these together because I need help. I don't know what I need exactly. Medical examiner to look at these records, outside eyes, maybe outside of the city, because Mercy Hospital is such a juggernaut. They need to know. They need to know his face. They need to know that when you make these mistakes, someone's got to be held accountable. I think, you know, I have to utilize all the time I have. I have to utilize the platforms that I have and shining light so that my dad is not forgotten. People say that, gone but not forgotten. And they expect you to just pick up and, you know, go to work the next day and live your life the next day, knowing what you saw, knowing what was done to somebody that you love. I'm 0 for 6 with lawyers right now. I appreciate every person. I've had messages from nurses thanking me for telling my story, for sharing my truth. And I've heard so many other people's stories about things that have happened. And again, I don't think doctors are generally bad people or anything like that. It's not, I don't think that. I don't think that hospitals are out here, you know, killing people or anything. But what I do think is there needs to be accountability. It can't be this hard for you to get a fight. I'm gonna use all the time that I can in these 2 years to get my day in court. These people have to explain to me what happened and why it happened, and someone to take some accountability. I'm not gonna let people forget about him, and I'm certainly not gonna let Mercy Hospital forget about him. He's should be here. I wanna thank everybody that has reached out, everybody that has helped share my dad's story, everybody that has shared your story and truth with me. It's meant a lot. And just know that this whole 2 years, I'm gonna keep swinging, man. They're not gonna brush my dad's story under the rug. We're not gonna do it. Thank you, and let's just keep fighting with me.